So in this video, we need to pull out the names and dates in the supervisor learning form. So we need to split what this cell is actually got. And then we're going to start looking at how we can actually create a unique key to join the two spreadsheets together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new column, and we're going to call this name. And then we're going to add another column called this date. There's a function that we can use called split. We're going to use that function, and we want to split this text here. So we're going to split C2, and the delimiter we want, and if you remember in the last video, we used the colon as a delimiter. Now that was there for a reason, so we're going to use the colon here, end quote, and then we can just end the bracket, and then that's going to split those two cells. Now let's pull these down. Okay, so now we've got a problem because there's an error in I4 and I5 there. Now the reason that is because there's nothing in C4 and C5. The actual information is in these two cells. So we need to have other columns for the different services. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to name our columns 1 for service 1 and 1 here. And then we're just going to go over here and we're going to create 2 and 2. Now, we want to change our formula around a bit so we don't see this ugly value here. So let's change this. So if there's an error, that function will work. And then if there's an error, we want to just put empty cell. So let's return that. And now if we copy this down, the value will disappear. So we want to do a similar formula over here. So let's do the split first. So split D2 this time, and the delimiter is going to be a colon, return, and then you can see there's a value. Let's copy these down. Well, let's change this first and put the error in. So if there's an error, bracket, if there's an error, then we want to do a blank cell, which is double quotes. There we go, and then if we copy this down to there. Now, just incidentally, we don't want to have to keep copying things down on these spreadsheets. So I'm going to show you something later where we can use an add-on. So when a form is submitted, it will automatically copy these formulas down. But there's no point adding that until we've actually completed every formula. Okay, so now we've got our dates and our names separated. So let's go back to our student service learning form. And here, what we need to do is we need to ensure that we are matching the data from here to the data here. Now, the only way we can do that is by having a unique key. And the easiest way to get a unique key is with the name and the date, because it's very unlikely that a student is going to do two services on the same day, two different services on the same day. So, in a previous video, what we did, we wrote a formula here which imported the data from the supervisor spreadsheet. So this is our supervisor spreadsheet. We can't change this. We have to change it from the supervisor spreadsheet. And you can see here all of those columns that we've just done have been imported in. So let's go back to our form responses, and we're going to type a column called unique key. Now the unique key is going to simply be the name and the dates together. Now we've got the name here in B2 and the date here in C2. So we're going to use the concatenate formula. But before we do so, we don't want any spaces. So let's get rid of the spaces within this name field first of all. And we're going to use a function called substitute. So substitute here, so we're going to substitute, and from the text that we're going to look for, which is B2, we're going to substitute the space, so put that in quotes, and we're going to substitute it with nothing, blank, so 2 quotes there. Return, and now you can see the space has disappeared. So now what we can do is now concatenate the date with that. So let's use the concatenate function, and we want to concatenate the name, comma, and then the date. So the date is C2 here, and then bracket. Now, as you can see, it's actually put a number in there, which is great. We want the integer number of the date because we don't want the date format in there, and that's therefore giving us a unique key. So now we can copy that down. So there's our form responses unique key. We've now got to get the same unique key in our supervisor form. Now this is a little bit more complex. So let's go through that process because it seems to be simple. We can just concatenate these two together. So let's do that. So let's put in unique key here. And then we're just going to concatenate these together. Now I'm going to use a different way of concatenating this time, and we're just going to use ampersands. So I with I2 with J2 return, and there we can see it's concatenated. But as you can see, there is a space in there. So we need to do that substitute with the I2. So let's put in substitute here, substitute I2, and we want to substitute the space. And there we go. So what we've done there is we substituted in I2, we substituted the space with a blank and then concatenated the dates. So then we can pull this down. But there's a problem because these cells are empty. Obviously, these cells are empty, but we want these cells here. So what we need to do is make sure that this is service 1 unique key. Then we come over to here and we do service 2 unique key. And then we just write the same formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this into here. We want to change the formulas here. So instead of I2 and J2, we want K2 and L2. So I2 is K2 and J2 is L2. And therefore it's going to be blank, and then we can pull that down and then it's going to bring that in. But that doesn't help because we now got 2 columns for unique keys. So we now need a final column, which we call the unique key. Just unique key, we don't need to put a service number in front of it. And then all we do is concatenate these together. So very easily, we can just do M, ampersand, N, and then return. And there we've got our concatenation. All right, because there's blanks here, you're only ever going to get that one unique key. And now we have a complete column for our unique keys. And just to check, Han Solo 42749, that's the number that we want, 42749. That's the unique key within our supervisor form. That should match 42749 in our student form, 42749. So now we've got 2 keys that we can link together and do some manipulation of the data.